Okay. All right. So, good evening, everybody. I'm Angelina Manoto, and my friend and I, Nelly. There you go. Nelly and I will be handling this session. Susanna would have loved to be here, but unfortunately, or fortunately, she's actually attending the conference, which starts in a few days. So she's actually in the US and not able to come. But we'll do our best and we'll see how we go. The material that I'm presenting is, it was actually prepared by Susanna herself. So I can't claim anything on the content. She prepared it. So I really am just presenting it to you all. So let me just share my screen. Mhm. Okay, can you see all that?
Not sure.
Can you see it?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Now it's coming? Okay, all right. So today's topic is menopause. Oh, I just noticed the date is wrong, but that's supposed to be today. um, as I said, it was prepared by Susanna, simply because there's a lot of people wanting to know how they can be helped as they go through the process of menopause. Menopause is a very natural part of our life as women. So this is Susanna, and this is Nelly and myself, and the two of us are hosting tonight's session. So thank you all for coming. So to start with, let me just say that Lifewave is a scientific product that activates the body's own cells through the frequency of light waves, thereby enhancing our body's self-healing ability. And all of the products of Lifewave do not contain any drugs or stimulants or chemical ingredients. And Lifewave is not used to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases. Um, Maybe shall we just let me just mute everyone for now. Okay, all right. Okay, so we are gonna watch a video. It's a 5-6 minute video on menopause. It explains a lot about it. So let's just see.
There's a lot of mystery and confusion surrounding menopause. So I'm going to take the next few minutes to tell you exactly what's happening in our bodies when we go through it. You can almost think of menopause as puberty in reverse. Hey, it's your favorite OBGYN, and I'm here today to talk about a subject that I find truly fascinating: menopause. Chances are you probably don't find it quite as gripping as I do, but I promise that if you can get past the horror stories, you'll be riveted too. Whether you're going through it or know someone who is, you'll recognize there's nothing to fear. So what exactly is menopause? Technically, menopause is diagnosed 1 year after the final period. But most people use it to refer to the entire span of time when our menstrual cycle is changing in length, a process that lasts several years and then all the time afterwards. So it's best to think of menopause as a continuum, starting years before during what is called the menopause transition. Just like puberty, the process happens over many years. The menopause transition is one bookend of our reproductive cycle, opposite puberty. When we're born, we actually have all the eggs we're ever going to make, about 1 to 2 million of them, unmatured and encased in follicles in the ovaries. Around the age of 8 to 10, the hypothalamus, a region in your brain, starts releasing a hormone that essentially wakes up those dormant eggs, beginning the monthly cycles of ovulation. This is what increases production of a class of hormones you've probably heard about: estrogen. Estrogen, along with other hormones, begins a delicate hormonal dance that once a month results in the most mature egg leaving its follicle and traveling down a fallopian tube. The body builds up the lining in the uterus, the endometrium, to house the egg. And if the egg isn't fertilized, the lining sheds and we have our period. This cycle repeats over and over and over for decades. On average, sometime in the mid-40s, ovulation starts to get erratic. We just don't have as many eggs, and the ones that remain may not be as healthy anymore. Estrogen can be lower some cycles and even higher during others. This is the menopause transition, hormonal chaos like puberty. Only this time, when estrogen levels stabilize, they'll be much lower than they were before. This very normal decrease in estrogen and other hormonal changes does come with medical concerns, such as osteoporosis, heart disease, diabetes, and vaginal dryness. Some of us are lucky and we will have no or mild symptoms. Others will experience trouble sleeping, irritability, depression, or decreased sex drive. And then there's the most classic symptom, hot flushes. They're a wave of heat that makes it feel like the furnace just got cranked up on the inside. Scientists aren't completely sure why this happens, but the resulting heat makes you feel sweaty and off kilter. Some women even have symptoms that overlap with anxiety, like nausea and palpitations. But for me, it feels as if I've had too much to drink. Those are some of the negatives, but there are positives too. After menopause, you don't have to worry about periods or cramps, and people who partner with men who make sperm don't have to be concerned about unintended pregnancy. You're through all that. To me, menopause is something we go through, like puberty. And like puberty, there's a range of experiences. We continue to make vital contributions to society after menopause. It's not your dotage. Your worth has nothing to do with your ovaries. So let's say you're in the menopause transition. What are the best things you can do? If you're suffering, there's almost always some kind of help. If you smoke, definitely try to quit. Not only will it reduce your risk of heart disease, it might also reduce some symptoms of menopause. Reducing stress and getting enough sleep is also good. Focus on eating a healthy, balanced diet rich in calcium and vitamin D for healthy bones. And try to get at least 150 minutes of moderate physical activity a week, especially if it's weight-bearing exercises like hiking, dancing, or jogging. If you're losing sleep or having hot flushes or experiencing other symptoms that affect your quality of life, talk to your doctor. Don't rely on wearable magnets or so-called compounded hormones. These are unproven and have risks. There are a variety of proven options, from cognitive behavioral therapy to FDA-approved estrogen and some non-hormonal medications that can be very helpful. There are so many permutations and combinations of options that safe therapy can be customized for almost every woman. One more idea, have a mantra ready. When I get a hot flush, sometimes I tell myself, I'm feeling this because women have evolved to drive humanity forward. This is a sign of my strength. And then I can make it until it goes away. There's a lot of...
Okay, so what is menopause? Let's just have another quick overview. Okay, menopause is when your period stops due to lower hormone levels, and this usually happens between the ages of 45 and 55. And perimenopause is when you have symptoms before your period stopped. You reach menopause when you have not had a period for 12 months. And menopause and perimenopause can cause symptoms like anxiety, mood swings, brain fog, hot flushes, and irregular periods. These symptoms can start years before your period actually stops, and it carries on afterwards. So menopause and perimenopause symptoms can have a big impact on your life, including relationships and work. So what are the physical symptoms? Dr. Gunter actually mentioned quite a few. She did mention hot flashes, which is commonly described as a warm flush or feeling that begins in the face or neck and moves down the body. Also, sleep or night sweats. And you just feel so... this happens around midlife. Some women start having trouble getting a good night's sleep, and maybe you can't fall asleep easily, or you wake up too early. And night sweats might just wake you up. You just feel so hot. You just want to take off your clothes. Another thing is, of course, change in your period. And this is basically what you first notice. The periods become irregular. They may be shorter or they may last longer, and you might bleed more or you might bleed less. And sometimes you won't bleed at all, and then the next time you actually do, and it's heavier and all that. So it's just a change in the pattern. And also in terms of vaginal health and sexuality, after menopause, the vagina may become drier, which can make sexual intercourse uncomfortable. And then the more serious side of it, physical symptom that typically happens to women is osteoporosis. This is due to the decreased hormones, the loss of calcium is accelerated, and the bones are prone to become loose and fragile. And in worst cases, the bones actually do break. So there you go. Lots of symptoms that we have to deal with as women as we go through the process of menopause. So there are 3 stages of menopause. Menopause, which is the first year after the last menstrual period and the ovaries stop releasing the eggs. They just stop. And perimenopause is when the ovaries start to produce less estrogen, which can then last for several years. And the number of the eggs in the ovaries actually start to diminish quite significantly. And postmenopause, which is the years after menopause has ended and symptoms start to ease. And this is where there's really nothing in there anymore. And basically the symptoms start to ease because you start to feel a lot better. You don't have those ugly symptoms of menopause anymore. So how do we deal with menopause? Women should understand that menopause is a natural stage and it is only temporary, not pathological. Remember what that lady said? With menopause, it does not have anything to do with your worth. It does not devalue us as women. Menopause is just part of the natural process. So when the endocrine of the body gets a new balance, everything will return to normal. And so post-menopause, everything just switches back to normal and you start to feel, really great again. So how do you deal with menopause? You get enough sleep. You need to avoid caffeine, which can make it hard to sleep. And we need to avoid drinking too much alcohol, which can interrupt sleep. We also need to practice relaxation techniques, such as deep breathing, paced breathing, guided imagery, massage and progressive muscle relaxation may help with menopausal symptoms. We've got to eat a balanced diet. We need to include a variety of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. We may need calcium or vitamin D supplements to help meet our daily requirements. And obviously, if you smoke, please don't smoke. Stop smoking because that increases your risk of heart disease, stroke, osteoporosis, cancer, and a range of other health problems. And exercise regularly. Get regular physical activity or exercise on most days to help protect against heart disease, diabetes, osteoporosis, and other conditions with aging. So there you go. And start living a free life. Just enjoy life. Now let's talk about menopause and osteoporosis. As you can see in this picture here, these are the various stages of osteoporosis. The first photo shows a bone that's actually healthy. It's dense. It's got, very solid supporting matter inside of it. And as you can see, as the years progress on, the density becomes looser. There's a lot more packets of air in the bones, and that actually makes the bones weaker. And that's osteoporosis. The female hormone estrogen plays an important role in maintaining bone strength. Estrogen levels drop around the time of menopause, which occurs on average at the age of 50 years, resulting in increased bone loss. If your peak bone mass before menopause is less than ideal, any bone loss that occurs around menopause may result in osteoporosis. Research suggests that about 1 in 2 women over the age of 60 years will experience at least one fracture due to osteoporosis. So, what sort of foods do we need to eat to help manage menopause? Highly suggested would be dairy products such as milk, yogurt, and cheese because they contain calcium, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, and vitamins D and K, all of which are essential for good bone health. Also, eat foods that are rich in healthy fats such as omega-3 fatty acids. That includes fish. Decrease the frequency of hot flash, and these decrease the frequency of hot flashes and severity of night sweats. We also need to eat whole grains. These are high in nutrients, including fiber and B vitamins. Eating whole grains per day promotes a 20 to 30% lower risk of developing heart disease and diabetes. Fruits and vegetables are also recommended. They're packed with vitamins and minerals, fiber, and antioxidants. And also, most importantly, we need to eat quality protein to increase muscle mass and bone strength, and also to provide our body with the collagen that we need, because collagen is the most abundant protein in our body. So just have a sweeping look at this variety of foods. So we need to make sure that, within the week, we actually consume a whole lot of these foods. Now, what foods do we need to avoid? We need to avoid foods rich in added sugars and processed carbs. The high blood sugar, insulin resistance, and metabolic syndrome have been linked to higher incidence of hot flashes in menopausal women eating these kinds of food. Alcohol and caffeine can trigger hot flashes in women going through menopause. And many women going through menopause have trouble sleeping. If you have trouble sleeping, consider avoiding caffeine or alcohol near bedtime. Also, spicy foods, just avoid them. Intake will increase hot flashes. And high salty foods increases the risk of developing high blood pressure. Reducing your sodium intake may help lower this risk. There you go. So foods to avoid. So, apart from those things, what can we do? Well, in Lifewave, we've got a lot of patches. We don't need drugs. We don't need injections. We don't need surgery. And on this topic, I'm gonna hand the floor to my friend Nelly.
Thank you, Angelina. So I will share with you what are the patches. I can't share screen. What are the patches that could help us with menopause? You're on mute, Angelina.
Yep, okay.
Can I share now?